Hey everyone, welcome back to more Flesh and Bad, and today we're going to be doing some more Zen. So, no significant changes to the deck today. I think we're still on the wax on wax off plan. The one thing I did want to try today is to just add like a random spinning real quick to the side, mostly to just have like a good tutor target that doesn't eat a tiger. This is kind of one thing I want to try to play around with. I'm not like sold on spinning as like a 3 of, maybe at like a 2 of. But spinning out like a 1 of being like a decent tutor target that also doesn't eat the tiger is kind of like the most interesting part about it to me. So I kind of wanted to try that out today. I think I also like cut down on a cosmic because if you actually look at our, I think, new board here, I've been kind of working on this a little bit as well. Running 66 cards, which might be a little bit too much. I might also like end up trimming on that like spinning wheel kick or maybe like another like 2 block here or there. But running 66 cards and then the wax on, or the wax offs rather, are also helping with that blue ratio a lot. So you can kind of cut down to cosmic, I think. And yeah, this has been kind of like performing pretty well when I've been kind of testing it. Doing pretty good. So yeah, I think we're just gonna try out the spicy one of spinning wheel kick again, a card that I think I called as spicy as mayonnaise earlier. But we're gonna try it today as one of and see if I like it. I might honestly go up to 2 at some point, but I still have like the question of like what am I replacing with this card, and I still don't feel like completely comfortable getting rid of E-strikes because it does help in a lot of our kind of like bad matchups, E-strike in particular. So yeah, I think we're gonna rock with this day and let's see how it goes. All right, we got the Zen killer over here. We got Betsy. I think we'd rather go first into Betsy, and I think our assumption here is just hard fatigue. So let's go ahead and bring in everything but the wax-ons, I think. We may even cut the wax offs if we're bringing in cosmics. Probably something like this is fine. Let's run it and see how it goes. I think it's always good to practice into, presumably, what is a fatigue deck, just to make sure that you can still do it. Oh, I did also want to mention,
Bruh.
I think we have more Zen LL points at some point. Okay, so let's take a look at what they got. They got the Miller's Grindstone. It might actually not be a fatigue Betsy. Kind of an interesting equipment setup here. I guess. How do we want to start this off? I guess we can just like start with like Harmony Hunt. Most annoying thing to probably start off with. We can even like draw off levels depending on what they do. Wait. Okay, we are in Uncharged. I just noticed that they have 2 hammers here. That is definitely a unique strategy. Okay. I'm almost wondering if they maybe have both in the board, but even that's like. So there is a thing you can technically swing with 2. Like you could. This is like a legal equipment setup, obviously, but maybe they're doing something to like get a quicken token so that they can swing both of them at the same time. I'm not entirely sure. All right, I think we're gonna cut off the turn here and just try arsenal levels. If they play something else, we might play it. Okay, interesting hand here. The triple transcend hand is never a bad thing this early on, honestly, unless they just hit me with like a huge bet big pummel something. But other than that, I think we're probably in pretty decent shape. Sorry, bet big actually. I think this card is actually scarier than bet big. Oh, they're running trot alongs. Wait, this is actually kind of insane. They trot along their Titan's Fist and just swing both. It's kind of sick. So the winner draws a card and the other hero discards a card. Definitely scary. I guess we're just gonna double transcend this, let them draw a card. They're all... What is okay, this is someone is fucking cooking here. Alright, let's go ahead and just drop plus homage this, and then we're gonna pitch HE to transcend, presumably. I guess we might as well just even pass over. Gain a resource, gain a resource, gain a resource. And then we will activate Zen to get a tiger in hand, fail to find, and then just discard the tiger. Seems somewhat reasonable. All right, we'll go ahead and just do Drago here, and then maybe even end on levels. I think we're just grabbing Tiger Swipe. But definitely an interesting game so far, I will have to say that. So we can do 2, 1, 5 E-Strike. I will give them credit for what it's worth. I think they're not on a CYP deck. This deck is fascinating to me. I think I need to like build this and play this after this recording. because this shit's kind of wild. Goliath Gauntlet 2 is also very spicy. This has to be like some kind of like weird aggro Betsy. Alright, we're definitely leaving this game in for sure. It's a good thing that we're hedging here, I guess for like fatigue. Because normally I feel like it is fatigue Betsy, but definitely, you know, always with hedging, there's always a risk that you're running into something completely different. So knowing when to like pivot your game plan is definitely, I think, important. All right, now we have the bet big coming out in front. Seems good. Drinking Mother of the Table is like a messed up card, by the way. If Betsy ever gets good, which may be waiting for Guardian Set Mastery at this point, that's definitely a scary card. And we'll finish on the E-Strike. It's just draw a card. We have one chi developed in the deck, so... Oh yeah, someone got mad at me for saying developed. I'm allowed to say what chi. I think that's fine. Yeah. Developing out chi, I think, is an actual term, but I probably do say develop too much. Alright, go ahead and arsenal the E-Strike. Then we can do Sacred Art, Chase, bottom the CNC to E-Strike. Depending on what they have, obviously. But I'm assuming 3-card Betsy hand could be doing something. We might just end up sending like CNC. Definitely some options here. All right, we got the Miller's Grindstone. Sure, I think this is fine. All right, so they're going to lose it and then put a counter on it. Sounds about right. And I guess we're just getting another Transcend in the deck, getting our resource, and then developing out Chase Aspect. All right, now I'm actually like saying it develop out for actual real this time. Let's play out the Chase Aspect here. And then finish on the E-Strike. Do we want to draw a card off E-Strike, or do we want to just send 7? If they're keeping the whole hand here, I almost want to just send the full thing. But obviously, it depends on what they do. Kind of feel like a CNC pummel coming on. In which case, going off an arsenal is like fine. So we'll go ahead and send it here. Alright, pass it back. 5-card Betsy hand. What have they got cooking over there? It's definitely terrifying. Oh, they're gonna go for a double hammer turn. Also terrifying. Alright, Money Where Your Mouth Is as well. This is insane tech, by the way. It's kind of nuts. Blue Snatch. What is this? Oh, and they give it overpower. That's kind of cool. I mean, we still just kill them here. Kind of. Well, I guess they come in for 6. Sure, I guess. Just throw cards in front of it. If they ever react, we have Sync because it's overpower. Alright. I need to take Lunging Press. What is this? Should I just let them have it at this point? They get a gold, and then they get the card draw. We could sync below this, but maybe at the like they worked so hard for this, we might as well just let them have it, right? I feel like it would be rude to sync below that. That's insane, by the way. What is this deck? I think this is one of the best decks I think I've ever seen. I'm so happy. We need to figure out exactly what the 60 is. All right, drink them under the table. I need to understand the brew here. All right. Let's grab Molinky. All right, send in the Tiger plus Molinky, Arsenal Sync. Pretty good. Like, they're kind of getting wrecked here, but for what it's worth, this is the coolest deck I've ever seen, so I will give them props in terms of deck building, at least. They still got some armor to work with, so they're not, like, totally dead here. They give me, like, a card plus Civic Steps, and that would probably Be pretty alright. Alright, well, I think they left at some point. Okay, they had the pummel. Alright, let's take a look at what else is in this deck. So they've got marking synergy. What is the marking synergy for? I am so confused. Why do they have mark in this? I guess, oh, okay, wait. Maybe the expose is just an additional lunging press. Okay, that makes sense. What are the public bounties for then? Okay, I think I said they were cooking here, but I maybe rescind that cook notification or my opinion of their cooking. This is one of the biggest piles I think I've ever seen. Wow, that is fascinating. Okay. I feel like there's like half a deck here, but yeah, maybe we need to go back to the drawing board for that one. All right, let's see if we can get another here. All right, so we got a Vynnset here. Definitely like going first in a Vynnset, and this is one of the matchups that I think you probably want AB the most at this point. I think we still don't want our wax on wax off stuff. I've toyed around with reacts maybe being okay into Vynnset, but I think blues in general are just better. So maybe let's bring in like our two cosmics and our breed, and then just kind of lean off the defensive package here a little bit. I think the rest looks good. Let's go ahead and try like this. All right, mediocre kind of starting hand, but that's okay. We'll start with the growl and I guess see what they do. They're on Scepter, Pain plus Flail. This is not a configuration I think that I'm necessarily used to. Husk is also, I think, a little bit of a surprise to me. But this is definitely a set of Vynnset cards I think that is maybe somewhat reasonable. I'm not sure. I've not been keeping up to date on my Vynnset lore here. Also, I just now noticed there are a bunch of little green ghouls kind of in the back of the art here. That's kind of cool. All right, I feel like I'd rather, which one between these two would I rather have in Arsenal? I guess maybe just barely Harmony. I think we're playing out the Chase the Tail here too, just to like get it out of our hand so we can just find Transcend. I feel like I'm playing a lot of 1-for-4 Chase the Tails lately, but I think it's still a lot of times correct to do that. All right, so we're on Mob Skies, which I think is pretty easy in general for Zen to block. So I'm happy to see that if they're running multiples of those. It does get a little bit scary with the card that gives like overpower and go again. I forget exactly which card that is. I'm terrible at card names, by the way. But it does get a little bit scary with that, but for the most part, it's like pretty easy to block. Another yellow pummel. What has been with the yellow pummels lately? People just have been salivating over that card. That's crazy. Okay. So we've seen a yellow pummel in Prism, and then we've seen a yellow pummel in Vynnset. I feel like the yellow pummel, I guess, is Indian. We even played a deck with yellow pummel. I think my first Jarl video I was playing yellow pummel, so I guess yellow pummel is all the rage, as you can tell by my videos. All right, and this hand is excellent, very good. I'm assuming that since they're Vynnset, they're probably just going to take a setup turn on turn one, is my guess. But they might be running some spicy shit, so who knows at this point. Although two mobs are out of the way, which is like, I don't know if that's good for me or bad for me, because I don't think this card's very good. This is kind of a little bit more reminiscent, it's kind of a little bit more reminiscent of, I guess, earlier Vynnset lists that were running like red pummels and just trying to like pummel like a big attack. Yellow cussing too. Okay, we are definitely in uncharted territory at this moment, but that's okay. I mean, what? Yeah, I don't really know what's going on here. I'm gonna be honest, but they're definitely doing stuff. All right, we got the red cussing, which I guess does make sense with the yellow one. We got an envelop in darkness plus flail. So if we don't block this, they get a bunch of rune chance. But our hand is just super good anyway, so maybe we don't care. So they can have their cussing, I think is fine. Sure. They're getting like 4 rune chance here, but like It's whatever. I don't think we care with this hand, really. All right, go ahead and send in the Harmony, which is getting +4, and looks like it's getting a little bit more than that, so that's also a positive there. I guess we're just going to go ahead and preserve Chase back in the deck, gain a resource, and then probably just go for a Mauling to finish this up. Oh, whoops, sorry. We need to play this instead. I think I was thinking I was trying to play this and also pitch to Kakara at the same time. All right, a lot of yellows here. Maybe following in Pisserai's footsteps here a little bit. They have told the Pisserai story on the channel before, but that was our friend Steven's dumpster dive submission. I think it was like a couple dumpster dives ago, but if anyone is curious what a real Viscerai list looked like, that's exactly what it looked like. Just all yellows. Very, very cool. All right, seems like they're going to let this all through. Go ahead and I guess start with the Tiger. Should probably like a card first, but data matters. We just gotta remember to play the Chase the Tail here. And then we'll grab Mauling, I think. But good to know after playing so much Jarl lately that I've still got the Ancestral Harmony skill. Definitely a little bit comforting that I'm still good at this deck. And you know, there have been a lot of people saying I misplay on the channel, which is fine. You are more than welcome to point out any micro optimizations or whatever. But the one thing that you cannot accuse me of is whipping off harmonies, because I hit harmonies more than anyone alive. Let me tell you. All right, go ahead, and now we'll just send in the Kakara, conceal a little bit more information, then just finish on like Mauling plus Tiger. There's like actually some. We actually probably should have played around Call a little bit better than we have right now. We're still kind of playing around Call, but like not maybe as good as we could have been. Because there's definitely like a risk that if we lose the Tiger here, like we're forced to lose Tiger, which is not like necessarily the best call, but still like they'd get 5 value out of call, which is like pretty alright. Yeah, I don't know. Definitely, I think a minor, I guess, optimization when you're playing against Vynnset is thinking about call. But I guess I think I've been so thrown off by the yellows here that I'm probably not necessarily playing super optimally here. I guess they are like within Oblivion range. If they can resolve that, that would be kind of scary. But otherwise, it feels like we got a pretty decent kind of tempo lead here, and then we just like reset to pay into these rune chants if we need to. I feel like against Vynnset, I often do just take a reset turn every once in a while just to get them to brick. Although with Vexing Quill Hand, they are a little bit less likely to brick. This is, I guess, a pretty good carrying husk, but they've also now kind of put themselves on a timer. So I'm more than willing to kind of play into that timer if they want to do that. All right, let's see what they're gonna get here. Widespread is definitely pretty good with the amount of rune chance they got going here. So we'll go ahead and just pay into all of them, which is why we bring an AB into this matchup in the first place. And then we'll go ahead and just block it out. Take 1 damage off their widespread turn, which is pretty good. And we're also kind of immune to pummel at this point. And they're also just like taking 1 damage every turn, so like we don't really need to kind of be on the offense here. So let's see what they got here. All right, red pummel coming in. Obviously a lot less good when we were not trying to keep a hand, so they kind of had like a mini crippling crush here. It just didn't matter because we blocked it. Definitely very sad. Go ahead and just pass back and reset. This hand's like pretty good. We have like block 6, and then we also have like growl plus like set up arsenal or whatever. Don't think this is a terrible hand. This hand also just like blocks really well if they want to set like widespread or whatever. So I think our play here is going to be not taking the, or like not paying into the rune chance. We'll skip the rune chance since we don't have an arsenal to begin with. And then they could have a pummel here. Get a little bit scary. If they don't have it, this is definitely the correct block. Okay, they have pummel. That's fine. So we'll just discard a growl, set up this in arsenal. Again, I think this is kind of okay, and they have to run out of pummels eventually, right? They do get their mob value for what that's worth, which is actually like kind of pretty gross. But is what it is. Pummel Vynnset. I think they're probably running 6 at this point. So we pitch. We have 3 in graveyard. They have 1 in pitch. I think they had another 1 in pitch recently, didn't they? So let's go ahead and just Arsenal Transcend. We have pass over here. Ability to make Zen State, obviously quite good. And then they're still just on their Carrion Husk timer. All right, another widespread seems pretty good. Gonna dirge it up 2, which makes sense. So going to 6 runes. So this currently doesn't have go again, which makes it definitely a little bit awkward to path well traveled it, but I think that's still what we have to do here. Let's go ahead and I think banish just like crown or whatever. Don't want to give them any blood deck cards, obviously. And I guess we'll pay for some of these rune chants here. They have another pummel at this point. I think they got me. We can maybe even like, do we even need to like do anything in response to this? I don't think we really do. Let's go ahead and just take it here. They do have like the go again off of this, so maybe we'll just save cards for whatever's left. But if they have a pummel, obviously it's I think fine. Kind of just choosing to take damage at this point as opposed to like needing to take damage. They have got us down like by a pretty substantial margin, but we still just have armor, which is really good. If they're pitching 2 cards to Scepter of Pain here, I think I'm like very okay with this. So we'll go ahead and just not pay here. Pay 0. Maybe I guess we could have saved something to pay for that, but it's whatever. All right, and then they could have also just used Flail there, which I'm not entirely sure why they didn't. Maybe just to save a little bit of life. All right, let's go ahead and YOLO off Harmony. All right, Sacred Art, obviously not a great hit, but that's okay. Use 2 for the Kakara here, and then maybe just get like a Key Unleashed and then bank a Tiger or something. That seems kind of alright. Go ahead and Kakara. Could get Chase, but like it's only we're basically only getting 1 extra damage, I think. And I think the Key Unleashed here is like also very fine. We'll leave the chases in the deck so that in next turn, if we want to pop Traverse, we have the opportunity to do so. There's also maybe a small amount of merit to like IP Uchi, but it's probably also not necessary here. We can just try to use Traverse to shuffle this stuff back, and then the IP doesn't really matter as much. All right, taking 2. Then we'll go ahead and just grab the Key Unleashed here. Arsenal our Tiger just so we're not bricking next turn, and then send it in. So now basically even on life totals, and then we've got a significant armor advantage here. So things I think are still looking pretty good for us. They also don't have a ton of rune chance set up, so I think that their pummel dreams are unfortunately kind of coming to an end here. For what it's worth, I think the arcane cussings maybe do make a little bit more sense now, just because they're able to like use pummel to like push through the on hit and whatever. I guess that kind of makes sense. So they're running like red and yellows of all those. Definitely feels like a lot of yellows to be running a Vynnset, but maybe the cost doesn't actually matter all that much. All right, so we've redrawn naturally into Chi. We can potentially just block this out if we want to force them to have an off turn. We could also just take this and then just send a million damage, which I'm probably, I think, a little bit more inclined to do. So we'll skip the rune chance here. They can have their life gain or whatever. And then we'll just block with like Wind Chakra here. I think it's probably fine. So he gets down to 11, which is definitely a little bit scary, but we're just sending a chase next turn, which is obviously great. All out of maulings, which is a good thing to note. And then almost out of growls. Yeah. Alright, back to our turn. Do our thing. Alright, seems like they're just gonna take it here. Then we'll just use this opportunity to grab our chase. Play it out, do 4/4/4, get him down to effectively 5. We still have our armor, so we're effectively at 17. So definitely still in a good spot here. Machinations of Dominion, that is the card name that I was trying to think about earlier. Although, to be fair, it's a little bit of a mouthful. Alright, seems like we no longer have to worry about creepers either, which is also very nice. Definitely makes it a little bit more easy to play around Succumb, just because they can obviously creepers in it and do some stuff. Alright, looks like we're just redrawing naturally into Chi. Banishing Yellow Pummel is very rough. And finishing on the widespread here. Okay, so Wonder Enchant and then the Arsenal Banish. I think now is probably the opportunity to maybe just to use Traverse Up. Definitely becomes a little bit risky, but like I think I just want to try to go for the kill here and not give them a ton of time to set up. So let's grab a 1 cost here. I think we still have Breed in the deck, right? We still have Breed, so we should get the 1 cost so that we can play out the levels for the full modes. It's definitely why I like having the 1-up Breed Anger, is just so that you can, like, mainly I use this card for when I don't have another Tiger for Chase the Tail, and then I can use it to basically use up a resource for levels. I feel like that's like the main use case, and it's also like pretty decent breakpoints in the end game, but other than that, it's kind of just like bad Chase the Tail that also costs 1, which makes it kind of unappealing to me. Well, we should be basically killing them here, even through like call or whatever. Should be pretty fine. Go ahead and play out the Breed. We'll do levels next after this, see what we draw into, and then probably just get them. I think they're going to probably die to their own Carrion Husk at this point. Definitely kind of seems to be the case. Right, play out the levels now, get a Pouncing Key, which actually combos pretty nicely with the Tiger. So they might not even die to their Carrion Husk here, they might just die to us. So they had a 2-block in hand, they had the Phantom Wraith, and then Pummel, obviously. Let's kind of take a look at their deck and see what they got going on. So we got lots of reds and yellows for the Deadwood Dirges, which kind of, I think, maybe makes sense. Very few blues, it looks like. Maybe just to kind of like, I think their game plan with the yellows is that, you know, Pummel costs 2, so if they can play out a free like Rune Gate card, then they can just pummel it pitching a yellow, which is pretty good. I can honestly see like this deck building I think makes sense to me. I don't think this is actually like a pile of jank. I think this is actually kind of cool. What they're doing here. So I definitely give this deck a very, you know, A+ in terms of effort for deck building. Definitely kind of reminiscent of a lot of the kind of Vynnset lists of old. I'm kind of surprised to see no Cull here, but maybe there's like some anti-synergy there with the pummel or something. Definitely something I guess maybe they're trying to play around there. All right, that was a pretty cool deck though. Let's probably see if we can get another. All right, we got another Fang. Generally like going second in the Fang. And then what was our Fang board? We cut out the wax on, or we cut out the wax offs, and then I think we brought in like Tiger Eyes and then maybe like a Cosmic. Is that what we did last time? You can also see cutting. So I'm assuming that most Fangs are running Crown of Providence into me, so maybe bringing in like some extra combo cards is also reasonable. Let's try like this and see how it goes. I think there's a lot of different ways that you can board into Fang and be kind of correct either way. So it seems like this Fang is actually on Crown of Providence this time. Definitely quite cool. So there's some smaller amount of risk of this hand. I think here we're just going to play out or like block with like Key Unleashed and then try to maybe save Cosmic for another block on the next dagger. All right, Provoke here is fine. We'll give them Cosmic, and that's, I think, acceptable. And then we still just have 2 Transcend cards here. So if we draw into any blue, we're fine, and if we don't draw into a blue, we can still just mono transcend Sacred Art. All right, looks like we drew into the blue, so this is, I think, a very important lesson in spacing out our transcend cards. So how do we best space this out? I feel like it's Stir plus Sacred Art pitching Underwinds here. And then we just get to Arsenal drop, which is great. Gain our resources and then send in Kakara. What do we end up getting here? I feel like so with Key Unleashed, I guess, is already out of our deck, so we don't need to get Key Unleashed. Maybe we just grab a Chase here and be fine with that. All right, go ahead and just play out all of our cards. And for what it's worth, I feel like if I draw this kind of hot against a Fang to begin with, I feel very favored for the rest of the game. So we played our Tiger last. Let's just make sure that. So let's go ahead and send in the Chase. Keep the drop in Arsenal for transcending next turn, and also basically we'll shuffle those two remaining Chi back into the deck, which is real nice as well. And then we'll finish here on the Tiger. Seems like they're maybe just going to take a reset turn here, which makes sense if they're going to try to like put us off cards. Yep, seems like definitely a reset turn here. All right, so how do we want to start this off? So we have the aspect, so we don't actually need to, what we don't need to do here is we don't need to like play out either of these Tiger starters. So I think we're probably going to save the Tiger starters, or I guess we do play out the Tiger starter and maybe just like get rid of the aspect depending on what we draw. So again, we're going to space out our Transcend cards here. And I think just play out Harmony Hunt. So we'll get our blue, we'll gain a resource, play out another Chase aspect. Or I guess we want to see if we can fish for something better than the aspect, but if we don't find something, I think that's also fine. But this is one of those draws I just think that Fang cannot beat, although they're having some pretty good answers here for what it's worth. I think that all you got are very good tech in his end right now. One of I think the better hate pieces for Zen is just that all you got, just because of Kakara. Feels like bad every time I Kakara and I see that. Right, Growl is strictly better than that, so that last thing was Tiger. We'll go ahead and just grab Chase since we have the redundant Tiger. Don't need to make another one, and then we'll just do Chase, Growl. This, I think we get an extra damage this way, which is really nice. So definitely a pretty good hit off the top with the Rising Sun there. And I think at this point, this is kind of just bludgeoning Fang to death, kind of. Definitely feels like we've got a very good tempo lead here, and then we're also just like transcending every turn, which is obviously very nice. All right, so they do have a 4-card hand for what it's worth, but again, I think there might just be a little bit too slow on the draw here. I think this is just another hand that like wants to just play out a Chase aspect line, and then we'll just keep saving the drop in the ocean here for like a rainy day. Go ahead and just double block on the Fire Vein. Might end up losing 1 damage if they just have like Pledge Fealty or whatever. Or Tooth. Tooth is also kind of another card that does make this block a little bit inefficient. I think we're kind of fine here. So we'll take 7 on the Blaze Headlong, and then they're going to finish up with the Dagger. Get their first Fealty online, which again is pretty slow. They could have like another React in Arsenal, but I'm also okay with that, I think. And setting up a bigger token here, also quite nice. All right, so we've kind of popped our hand at this point. Let's go ahead. We could use our Tiger here since we do have that Transcend card in Arsenal. And then we're just drawing very, very hot. So I think that's acceptable. We could also just get Aspect if we really wanted to be safe and like not Brick. I think that taking an action that preserves Pouncing Paws is maybe okay here. Although I could see using it since we do have that Transcend card in Arsenal. I just want to make sure. I think we'll take it a little bit safe here and then just like start with Growl Aspect and see what they do. I just want to make sure that like if we use Pouncing Paws, we're not losing the game because of it. And it definitely feels like a Pouncing Paws that's like maybe a little bit more suspect, especially when we just have the ability to grab an Aspect and be safe that way. Spinning Whale Kick has not been incredibly impressive so far. I played a couple of games today with it, and it's just like kind of whatever. It's fine. I'm not a Spinning Whale Kick hater. I just think could be a better card, I feel like. Also, her leg is like really long in that picture. That's kind of crazy. That's like always what gets me about this art is like how weird the perspective is. It's kind of cool. All right, do a nice little 3-4-4, and then just keep holding Transcendent Arsenal, which is pretty brutal because we're basically going to be transcending every turn this game. One of the classic ways to win a Zen is to just transcend every turn. All right, see what they got here. Giving us some more blocks. Well, I think what they're doing here is like arguably correct, just like trying to maybe block out and like not be super committal, because if like they can get us to brick, that's maybe a way they can come out back in this game. But unfortunately, just like with how our draw is lining up, I don't think that's maybe that possible. They are going to get to 3 fealty here though, for what's worth, because we're not blocking this, I don't think. So they finally get to 3 fealty on like turn 4, which is pretty all right. But again, our hands have just been kind of nuts, so we're going to keep playing them. We'll go ahead and just pitch this redundant chi to banish Crown here, I guess. Doesn't really matter. Gain a resource, and then activate. Go ahead and grab... so we're all out of chases at this point, which is fine. Just grab a mauling here. Do we want to do buff go? We already have an arsenal, so it's probably more reasonable to just get the 2 damage in now while we can. So I think it's okay. And I think this, again, it feels like one of these then draws that you just really can't beat. I think there has not been a turn that we have not transcended or had access to transcend, so there's basically just kind of I don't know if there's anything they can really do about it from their kind of side. Like they've even had like I think the good tech cards against me, like Battle I got and like the Theory Axe, I think are quite good. But even then, it's like kind of whatever. All right, to eat up some more cards seems good to me. And then Oath also makes sense. So they'll be able to swing with double daggers here because of the 3 fealties. But again, it just doesn't seem like they're going to be able to really connect with enough damage to really threaten me here. All right, go ahead and play levels. Drop it. Get a resource. And then this levels will be coming in for a little bit less than normal. What do I want to grab here? Grab like a 0 cost, or mauling is also acceptable. Let's grab mauling. This doesn't really matter a whole lot. Here I think it's debatable between draw and buff. I think we'll just draw. Alright, we're kind of redrawing into chi, which is actually maybe the downside of transcending this much, is that it does get a little bit awkward. Alright. I think buff there might have been better. I don't know. I don't know if it matters at this point. It could matter. We could honestly even just make a Zen state here, and that probably would be fine. We've seen like 6 transcend cards at this point, so like gaining the Kasai resource is probably not super relevant here. Then we just get to Arsenal like aspect or whatever. I think that draw maybe was a punt there. I don't know. A little bit hard to say. Obviously, results oriented, it feels like a punt, but in isolation, I think it's correct to just go for it there. I don't know. Still just kind of steamrolling here. All right. I think we are just making a Zen state just for lulz. Also just gets the chi out of our hand, which I guess we could have like IP with chi, but we're just drawing into more, so it doesn't matter. All right, affirm loyalty seems pretty good. Yeah. I think there's actually like a small chance that we brick on this hand, and then we're like a little bit sad that we actually just made a Zen state, but that's also like fine, I think. They put up like actually a really good fight, I think, for what Fang normally does in this matchup. Let's go ahead and just send in Kakara. I guess this is a little bit awkward because we're not graining first, or we're not windchuckering first. Was there a way we could windchucker first? I don't know that there was. Maybe there was. I'm not really sure. I guess we can still just like play out aspect, then play out one chakra, and then send it. I don't know. Feels like there's a wealth of options. Oh, they changed that. Oh, holy shit! They added the thing that lets you target the attack instead of just like you have to target whatever the last thing was on the chain. That's super sick. I did not notice that they did that. That's awesome. Kudos to the fucking Talisman people, by the way. They're always up to some really cool changes. All right, let's go ahead and just send in the Tiger Swipe. We'll play out. If they don't let this hit, we'll just play out Aspect, which they probably don't want to let this hit, but we'll see. All right, using the Sync here makes sense. Go ahead and just play out Aspect, play out Wind Chakra, and then play out the Tiger after closing the chain and stuff. This does stick around. You just play this turn, so yeah. Aspect classically does just let you keep the Tiger even after keeping the chain, breaking the chain rather. So go ahead and just strip more cards out of hand, put a Tiger in Arsenal. Things are good. And then I think this, like, we've actually drawn into Chi every single turn. It's kind of disgusting. All right, go ahead and just take it. Again, no real point to doing anything. They have Vynnset here, which is fine. I guess we technically got like 4 value out of the Sun State, so it's better than I guess IPing with Chi maybe, but definitely feels a little lackluster, obviously. Let's go ahead and just play out Harmony, see if we can YOLO anything off the top. YOLO another Harmony, the classic. And then just keep sending stuff. Really don't think there's a ton to think about at this point in the game. I think they've been putting up a really good fight for what it's worth. Like a very, very good fight for transcending every single turn. So I will give them some kudos for that. I feel like if Fang is able to keep like a 1-card hand with a bunch of fealties, like you can actually kind of race Zen a little bit. But obviously this is probably one of the more insane draws I think I've seen in a while. We have our Pouncing Paw still, so I'm fine playing the Tiger in Arsenal for some extra damage. Threatens 2 more cards out of hand. And then it seems like they just have another Loyalty, which is actually pretty good here because I think that's their second one. So they'll be able to go up to a 3-card hand. This is like actually surprisingly scary for Fang here, like given we've seen a Chi literally every hand, and they're still kind of alive this game, which is kind of wild. Right, coming with Fire Vein. They could have an instance way to mark here, but I don't think I care. They have it, it's like fine. They're like super close to killing us. Holy shit. I was talking a ton of smack about this Fang, but they have proven themselves very, very capable here. So we actually die to Hunsen if we don't block here, which is kind of wild. So I guess we will block here to remove that as a possibility. And then this hand probably just kills. But I've been saying that, and then they've been like actually kind of sticking in this game pretty well. So I don't know if this does anymore. My confidence is a little bit shaken here. All right, so I think go ahead and I guess Zen grab Breed and just send a bunch of breakpoints that are a little bit annoying. Yeah, it seems like they're finally off of it. So they had 2 block in hand, 3 block, and then oh, they want a quick rematch. I'm gonna say no. We've gotten a lot of Fang games in today, but I will give them a good game. I think they actually did pretty well for the kind of onslaught they were presenting. So they still had a lot of gas left in the deck, but yeah, definitely just felt like we kind of ran them over with Transcend. Like I think we actually transcended. Like look at those numbers. We basically they went first, and then like look at like we've transcended basically every single turn of the game. I think it was like a 5-turn game or whatever, but still it's kind of crazy. And they like still were in the game, which is kind of wild. So maybe like I need to put a little bit more respect in Fang. Like if we don't see that draw, like do they actually win that game? Like maybe. This is definitely I think one of the better Fang lists I've seen in a while. That's just running like the react stuff and not trying to bother too much with the attack stuff. Although I think were they running any attacks? Let's kind of take a look. They're running like the oaths and stuff, but like beyond that, I guess they were running like a mix of attacks as well. They just didn't really have much left in the deck at that point. But yeah, this is definitely like pretty scary in terms of like Fang draws. Like they I think like if we didn't draw that well, they maybe have a chance that game, which is actually kind of wild. So yeah, I think that's probably a good game to wrap it up on. So we're drawing pretty hot today against some of the more popular decks at this point, and we're trying the spinning wheel kick. Although I don't know, out of one of this doesn't necessarily make or break the deck. You know, it's kind of just a spicy include to basically like conserve tigers or whatever, which is fine. Like definitely has a little bit of merit there. But yeah, I think this deck is like just pretty solid. Again, I'm pretty happy with how it does into Aurora, and I'm also pretty happy with like I think if Aurora is the best deck, like I think this deck does pretty well, and also I think gets a little bit better into new if you're running the wax on wax off package, just because I think that's also quite solid. Especially just giving you extra blues in a new is pretty good as well. So I think that's probably gonna wrap it up for today. So thank you all for watching, and see you all next time. And a special thank you to all the folks who decided it would be a good idea to give us $2 on Patreon. We really appreciate the support, but it's obviously never required.